Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Well, I hesitate to call it a channel, it's mainly just a hobby for myself really, but my last video, Victory at Sea, I talked about my progress on painting my ships, and since that video I've played several games, and I thought I would show off a few turns of a game here, just really quickly to show, well, mainly to help myself get through the turn sequence and how the game plays. I'm not sure what to think of the game yet. It's got some ups and it's got some downs, and I'm hoping as I play more and more and I figure out the game more that I will come to appreciate some of these things. But I thought for now I was just going to do a quick battle. And what I found in the several games that I've played, or actually several, I should say 4 games that I've played, this will be the 5th, that it relies fairly heavily on the torpedoes. It's a very torpedo heavy game. And along with the torpedo issue, it's a game that is kind of a knife fight. There's very little long range gunnery. A few turns of moving and both ships are basically closed in to where you can see the whites of their eyes. And that has something to do, I think, more of a problem with the scale of the ships more than the actual range distance. I mean, a battleship has about 39-inch range, which is, where are we, 39, that's right here. That's fairly long range. That's a pretty big table you'd need to have for that. But rarely are the ships ever within that range. I find that most fights happen within 10 inches. Now on this mat, I know this setup that I have here isn't the best. This is just to show you the game. And to make the video short, I thought I'd make it a little closer so that you could get an idea of what's required, what the game is, and what the knife fight part of this game is, and the torpedo part of this game is. And so what I've done is a small battle, and that battle is going to be between the Congo right here and the Furataka right here. Now the Congo and Furataka. The Congo is 375 points, and the Furataka is 225. And that equals the same value, point score-wise, as the King George way over here. The King George is 600. So 2 versus 1, really quickly. We'll do this, we'll get underway here, and I'll show you a bit of the game. Now, I am no rules expert here. I'm not an expert in this game. I am learning this game like most people who are playing it. I'm learning it a bit at a time, so I might make mistakes, but I'm just going to fumble my way through this, give myself an idea of what this game is, and maybe show it off to someone who maybe hasn't tried it yet. So the first thing in this game, the first phase of this game is initiative, and the players roll off. So the British player, he gets a 1, that's great. Japanese player gets a 10. So the Japanese player has initiative, and what that means is the Japanese player, he moves second, but shoots first. And it's an alternating system. So because I lost initiative, or the British lost initiative, he is forced to move first. And he is going to move up to his flank speed, which is 5 inches. Now, in this game, a ship has to move, unless it has an agile keyword, it has to move at least 2 inches forward before it can make any turns. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to move you 2 inches forward, just like that. And we're going to turn you, or should I turn? You know what, I won't turn. I will continue up the other 3 inches that I have remaining. And I will go up to there. So there's the King George. He's made his move, or sorry, the Duke of York. Now I'm going to nominate one of my ships, or the Japanese ships. We're going to have the Furataka. He is going to have to go... Is he agile? No, he's not. So we're going to go forward 2 inches right there. Boop, boop. We're going to turn with this tool here, and I think it's like this, up to the bridge. Turn however you want, and then he moves a further. Flank speed is 7. He's gone 2, so he can go 5. So we'll go 4 and 1 more. So he's going to end up there. Now the British player doesn't have anything else, so it goes back to the Japanese player, And the Congo has a flank speed of 6. So we're going to move forward 2, because you have to, unless you're agile. We are going to turn him, just to get more guns to bear. So he's turned there. And we're going to move forward the remaining 4. 1, 2, 3, plus 1 more there. So there's the Congo. So that's the movement phase done. Now we're going to go on to the, what do they call it? Combat phase here. They call it gunnery phase. Yeah, gunnery phase. And because the Japanese player won initiative, he rolls first. Now, as far as I can tell, you have to nominate a ship to fire. So player A, or the player with initiative, nominates the ship, then the opposing player nominates the ship, and you go back and forth until all the ships have done this part of the phase. So I will nominate first to shoot. I will nominate the Congo to fire. And how we do that is we go on our card here. We look at the turrets. So I have A, B, X, and Y turret. I have to check if they're in range, which they are. I believe it's bridge to bridge. So from the Duke of York's bridge to Congo's bridge is about 11 inches. So we're in range, and we are in what range band? 11 inches. We are in short range. So 19 inches to 9 inches is short range. We're in firing arc for all of the turrets. I believe, yes, we are. Each turret, so the 4 turrets, they get 2 attack dice each. 2 attack dice each. So there's A, B, X, and Y. There's 8 dice. Not in point blank range, not in short range, not in long range, not in extreme range. Not a destroyer I'm targeting. Has it moved faster? Has it moved more than 6 inches? No, it has not. It moved exactly 5. It's not stationary, and it's not in my... It's not showing me its starboard or port arc, so it's not a large silhouette. And I'm not using a torpedo. I'm using main guns. 14-inch guns, 8 of them. Now, to hit him, I need a 4 normally. You start from 4, and then you do the modifiers. And since I don't have any of those modifiers here, it is just hitting on 4. So 8 dice hitting on 4s. What do we get? 1, 2, 3, 4 misses. So statistical here. 4 hits. Now, each one of these hits then gets a damage dice. So each one of these hits gets 2 dice for damage. And we're going to be rolling these damage, and we're going to be comparing the score. So the dice roll, I think, plus the armor penetration minus the armor from him. King George's armor is 7. So I need to be a score of a 7 on these dice, and I have a +1. So that means I need 6s on these dice to do any damage. Now, a 1 is always a miss, no matter what your score is, and a 6 is a critical hit. So any damage that I will do to this King George V will also be a critical hit. I think that's how that works. So we're going to roll these and see what we get. We got 1 6. The rest are misses. That's about right, I guess. So the critical hit does 1 point of damage. The King George has 89 points of damage. So he'll go down to 88 points just right away before we do anything else. So he's at 88. Now we work out what the critical was because we rolled the 6. So we roll a d10, which we got a 2. We look at the critical hit. We look at the critical hit reference. Let me see if I can get this on camera. We rolled a 2. So 2, if you look up here, is the engine room or the engine compartment. Then we're going to roll a d6 again to see what happens to the engine. A 1. The propeller is damaged. Let me see if we can get a look at this. We rolled engine down to 1. Propeller is damaged. -1 to flank speed. So the King George is now down to 4 inches of movement. Let me get this out of the way, put the camera back kind of right there. But no extra damage. So we did 1 damage on that battleship. And we didn't roll terribly. It wasn't a terrible roll, but we did 1. Now we're going to fire our light guns. And we have 14 6-inch guns here on this ship, right down here. 14 6-inch. They have 360 arc. They have restricted and weak. So weak means, I believe, they can't do any criticals. And restricted means you only get half the amount of dice. Now we're in 11 inches. So in 11 inches, we're at long range. We get 8 dice, so you would get 8 dice. Now this is where the game confuses me. You get 8 dice. Because of the restricted, you have to have the number of dice because not all the light guns can shoot across itself. So half go away. So you're left with 4. You hit on 4s. You're in long range, so you're hitting on 5s. And you're going to be hitting on 5s. So let's hit on 5s. Well, we got 3 hits. That's really good. 3 hits. Now, this is where I get really confused. And I'm sorry the camera's not zooming in on these cards. But it says right there, -2 to our armor penetration roll. So what that means is that the armor value of the King George is 7. Then -2 essentially makes it armor value of 9. There is no way I can roll 9s on 6-sided dice. So essentially, from as far as I can understand it, there is no way of damaging him. So that's that. And there's no point in firing the other light guns, the 5-inch guns, because they're the same. Now, since the Congo has done all of his damage, or all of his shooting, the King George, or the opposing player now gets to do theirs. So now here we go. We are going to nominate our targets first. So A and B turret are going to shoot the Congo, and the secondaries are going to shoot the Furutaka. I don't know if my X turret on the King George can see the Furutaka. No, it cannot. So that's how we work this. So the King George, who's taken 1 point of damage, his short range is 19. So Congo's in short range. What is the Furutaka in? Bridge to bridge, 12 inches. So so he's in long range as well. Okay, well, let's do this. So here we go. We have attack dice is 4. So the X turret or A turret has 4 dice, and B turret has 2 dice for shooting at the Congo. So again, you always hit on 4s. Then you have the modifiers. And one of the important modifiers is short range, which is a 0, a net 0. But because I'm in the guns are firing into my starboard area, I'm a large target. So it's +1 to this score. So instead of hitting on 4s like the Congo did, we're hitting on 3s. So there we go. 1 miss. This is going to be nasty. Nasty, nasty, nasty. So there's 5 hits. Now, each one of these dice gets 3 damage dice. Now, I'm assuming I'm doing this correctly. I think I am. I don't know why I wouldn't be. Or I've played this several times, and I've read the rulebook a couple times. So each one of these gets 3 dice, and I am short a dice. The game doesn't actually come with enough dice to do this. So I need to re-roll one of these. So what I need to re-roll, or what I need to roll to damage the Congo, is I need to compare the AP value, which is 2, versus the Congo's armor, which is only 4. Now remember, the King George is 7. The Congo is much less armored than the King George, and I guess that makes sense, but watch what happens here. 4 plus, AP value of 2. Essentially that makes the armor value of the Congo a 2. And because 1s are always misses no matter what happens, I only need 2s on these dice to damage the Congo. Now remember, the Congo just did a full salvo on the King George and did 1 point of damage. Here we go. And I have to re-roll one of these because I'm short a dice. So we are looking for 2s. There's a 1, so these two are misses, but because I needed to roll an extra dice, there. So here we go. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 points of damage right away, like instantly. So the Congo, he's going to go from 73 down to 60. 60 remaining. Now we have to get the 6s out of here, and there's 3 of them. Take these dice away. These 3 6s are critical hits. So we need to roll for each one of these. So let's put these aside. So for this one, we're going to roll what area it goes to. A 4. 4 is the engine room. Roll a d6 to see what happens to the engine room. A 2. And a 2 is rudder is damaged. Must move 3 inches before making a turn instead of 2. So plus 1 extra damage. So instead of 60, here we are, here's the Congo. Instead of 60, we go down to 59. 59. So that's the first one done. Now we're going to do the second one. We're going to roll. Where does damage? 0. That is a vital system. Uh-oh. A 2. Vital system 2. Rudder jammed. Roll a d6 for the rest of the game. At every opportunity, the ship must, on a 1 over 2, turn left, 3 or 4, no turn, 5 or 6, turn right. So that's terrible. And the amount of damage that does is a d6 amount of damage. So let's roll the d6 again. 5 more damage. So the Congo goes from 59 to 54. Now we have 1 more critical hit to do. Let's see where it goes. A 9, which is the crew. A 5. 5 on crew means a hull breach. The engine area critical score increases by 1, d6 extra damage. So 6 more damage. So we go from 54 to 48. So we went in 2 turrets worth of firing from the King George to the Congo. We went from 73 points, hull points, down to 48. So we are halfway to being critical in 1 salvo. Now I have to remember all of those critical hits. So on those critical hits, the first one we had was a must move rudder is damaged. So I will put a little token here to remind myself the rudder is damaged on the Congo right there. And then the crew, it had some crew damage. I'll put a little thing to remind me there about the crew damage. And what else did it have? It had the vital system, which was the rudder jammed. So, okay, so that's not, there's really no tokens here that says rudder jammed, I believe. No. Oh, maybe this one here. Rudder bridge hit, engine room bridge hit, rudder. So yeah, this one here. So I put this here to show rudder is jammed. So the Congo did not fare too well there. But we're not done with the King George. The King George is going to fire back at the Furataka. And his secondaries, he has 16 5.5, 5.25 inch guns that accumulate 10 attack dice. So there's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But he has the restricted, so I have to take 5 away. I can only have half. And weak, which means it doesn't cause any criticals. And we are in long range. So if we go to the modifiers here in the book, sorry for the delay here. If we go into the modifiers in the gunnery phase, let's see, where are we? Sorry for the camera movement here. Not point blank range, not long range, not short range, is long range, so -1. Extreme range, no. Target's destroyer, no. Moving fast, more than 6 inches. He moved 7, so -2. Stationary, no. Large silhouette. Am I in a large silhouette? Am I in your arc? No, I don't think so. So let's just measure this to see if I'm in the arc. So here's the arc. No, I would say I'm not. So it's just -2. So let's get that out of the way. Sorry for the mess there. -2 we're shooting at. So 5 dice at -2. So instead of hitting on 4s, we're hitting on 6s. Any 6s? 1 6. There we go. Now, AP value on these is -1. Armor value on the Furitaka is 2. So essentially, if I read this right, I need 3s to do damage to this ship. And I can't do any criticals. And I rolled a 2. So no damage. Furitaka gets away with it. Just a little bit of a dent. And that is turn 1. Done. So the next phase, I guess, if I'm reading this right, the end phase, the end player, in the end phase is tidy up the battlefield and make sure all players know what's happening. So we just got to make sure we know the damage. And this time damage control and other functions are performed. Okay, let's just pause the video here while I figure out the damage control phase. 1 second. Okay, I've read the the repair rolls, and it means that each phase, or at the end of the phase, each player can attempt 1 repair roll. And what it seems like is you roll 1 dice, and if you get 4 or more, you get to repair an area of the ship. And what do I have? I have rudder damage, crew damage, and speed. The speed I don't really care about. I'm going to do the rudder damage, I think, because that was rudder's jammed. So I'm going to D6. I'm going to try and repair this. I need a 4 more to repair the rudder. Okay, so I do manage to repair the rudder. I think I've done that right. King George doesn't have any damage, so he doesn't have to worry about that. And now we go back to turn 1, where we do the, or turn 2, where we do the initiative. So British player, a 3, Japanese player, a 4. Japs go first. I'm going to nominate the Furitaka to go first. And he is going to move forward his 2, because he has to. I'm going to turn and move forward my remaining 5. 1, 2, 3. We'll go right about there. King George, he is going to... Interesting, I have a choice here. I could continue with this guy or damage that Furitaka, which I think I might have to damage the Furitaka because he's got torpedoes. So what I will do is I will move him forward 2. He has to. 1, 2. We'll turn him, sorry, knock the camera there. We'll turn him slightly this way, sorry. And then we'll go our other our remaining 3. So here's him. Now Congo will go, and he will go forward his 3 because he has to. Oh no, I fixed the rudder damage. Or was that? No, that was the engine damage. I must move 3 inches before turning, so he'll have to go 3. I will turn to face like this, and then I will go my further 3, I believe. That's correct. Yep. There we go. This is getting to be a bit of a knife fight now. So that's that phase done. Now it's going to gunnery phase, and Japanese players have first turn. Now I could fire the Congo, or I could fire the Furitaka. And I think what I have to do, the Furitaka is in danger here because it's so close. Let's check the range here. Range is about 8 inches from one and about 9 inches to the other. So Furitaka will fire. Now, the Furitaka's guns can't damage the King George. AP 0. His armor is 7. I wouldn't be able to damage him, but I might be able to fire off the torpedoes. So port side torpedoes, 8-inch, 17-inch. So we're in short range with the torpedoes. Devastating and slow loading. Okay, so devastating means that you roll the damage on the torpedoes that hit are exactly what they show on the dice, plus criticals are 5s and 6s. So let's do that. We have 4 dice. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do the modifiers. Point blank range, no. Short range, no. Long range, no. Extreme range, no. Not a destroyer. He's not moving fast. He's not stationary. He is a large silhouette, so +1. But I am firing torpedoes, so -2. So essentially equals out to a -1. So instead of a 4, it's going to be a 5. So if any of these are 5s, some damage. Wow. Okay. This is not good for the King George. So 3 hits. Now the torpedoes each do 3 dice. So here's 3 for you, 3 for you. Let's just make this a little neater here so we can all see what's going on, and 3 for you. So now I'm going to be rolling this dice, these many dice, and whatever the score is, that's the damage. Plus, devastating means that 5s and 6s are criticals, so it could be extra damage on top of that. So we are looking for, let's see, what does the King George have? The King George have anything neat that I might be able to know? Torpedo Belt 3. Torpedo Belt 3. Let me just look that up real quick. Okay, sorry about that. So I've read Torpedo Belt 3 means that right up here, is that I reduce 3 from the score of the dice. But devastating, the torpedo effect, it says here that in addition, a critical hit scored for every damage dice that rolls a 5 or 6 before any modification by torpedo belt. So a 5 or 6 on the dice before the modification is a critical hit. So even though it's reduced by 3, it's still a critical, I guess. If the dice roll shows a 5 or 6, it's still a critical. Okay, well, let's try that. Okay, so we have all these dice. We're going to roll it. Oh, where are you here? So 1s are never anything. So the 1s automatically come out. And then we do this. So we have only 1 critical. And we minus 3 from each dice. Now that is pretty sad. If I'm correct, 3 minus that is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, a 1, and a critical. Does that make sense? This would then go down to a 3. So I did 4 damage on the King George plus a critical hit. Now, that might be wrong, but I think that's correct, but someone can maybe correct me in the comments if I've done this wrong. Let's see where the critical hit is. 1, which is, I believe, that is the engine room. Yes, 1 is the engines. And roll this, a 3 is turbine damaged. 2 extra damage, minus 1 to the flank speed, and critical score reduced by 1. So we have taken some damage to our speed. So let's put my little token on there. Little token right on there to remind myself of that. And we took, what was that? We took 4 damage from that attack. So the King George goes from 88 to 84. So not a great result there. Torpedo Belt 3 really helps. Now, since I activated ship on the Japanese side, now it's the British player's turn. And he is going to fire his secondaries at Furataka, his main A turret at Furataka, and his B and X turret at Congo. So let's do that. Let's first start off with the secondaries. He's got light guns. So 5 dice, essentially, if we go by last time. Minus 1 weak, no criticals. So we are plus 1 for being in the starboard view. What's the range there? I think I said it is just under 8 inches. So we are in short range, which is no benefit. So we're looking at 4s normally, side arc, plus 1. So that's 3s, but he's moving fast, so 4s. And 1 hit. The damage dice on the King George is just 1, so I roll this, and I need to beat his armor score of a... Furataka has a 2, minus 1 for my armor penetration, so a 3 is do a damage. So there you go. 1 damage to the Furataka with the secondaries. That's not a whole big deal. So Furataka goes from 23 to 22. So let's just mark that here real quick. 22. And now we're going to do the A turret. So it's 4 dice. We are in point blank range, I believe, for him. We're in point blank range, yeah. Side on. So point blank range means plus 1. Side on means plus 2. He's moving fast means minus 1. So we're on 3s. So these are hitting on 3s. We missed 2, so 2. And each one of these dice gets 3 damage. Dice. I am working with a +2 armor penetration, armor of 2. So it equals each other out. I easily penetrate that cruiser with the King George. But 1s are always a miss. So anything but 1s on here will do damage. Well, there's 1-1, so he's gone. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage on the Furutaka. So bringing him from 22 to 17. So he's taken a lump there. And we have 1-6, which is a critical hit. Critical hit is going to hit what area of the ship? A 4, which is engine again. Lots of engine damage. And a 1. Engine damage 1 is -1 to flank speed, but no extra damage. So he remains largely unscathed from that. Now we're going to do the B and X turret. So here's X turret, here's B turret, firing at the Congo. Now we are in point blank range there, you think? Yes, we are in point blank range. So +1 for point blank range. +1 for the stationary target. Or not stationary, large silhouette. So we're +2 to shooting. And he did not go fast. He went 6, so he is +2. So we are hitting on 2s on these dice. Okay, well that's lucky. Only 1 miss. 5 hits. But again, we got to add our damage dice. I'm trying to speed up here. I don't want the video to be too long. I just want to give you a sense of what the game is. 3, 4... And again, I'm short 1 dice for some reason. Not enough dice in the bag. Okay, so these. So armor value of the Congo is 4. Armor penetration of the King George is 2. So essentially 2s to do damage. 1s are always nothing. So any 1s I'll re-roll. I didn't roll a single 1. And I didn't roll. Oh, I rolled 1 6. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 damage. I need 1 more. So that's nothing. So 14 damage. And I got to do my 1 critical hit. So 14 will bring the Congo down from 48 down to 34. And now we do the critical hit. Critical hit, location, a 6, which is weapon. 4, which is turret destroyed. D6 damage, random turret destroyed. Okay, so D6 damage, 2 more damage. So Congo goes to 32. And a turret is destroyed. So you have the choice between A, B, X, and Y. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 or 6 will re-roll. So 1, 2. So B turret is destroyed on the Congo. So we'll just put this little marker here to show that B turret is destroyed. And that's the King George finished for his activation. Now we go on to the Congo. So the Congo, this will be the last bit I'll do here, just to show everybody what this is about. The Congo is going to shoot A turret, which is 2 dice. B turret is gone. X turret and Y turret. So 6 dice shooting back at the King George. We are in point blank range, so +1. He is showing me his silhouette. +2. He's not moving fast, so I'm hitting on 2s. 4s normally, down to 2s. Any misses there? No, no misses. Excellent. Shouldn't really miss at this range. Now we're going to do 2 damage dice, because it's a little, even though they both have 14-inch guns, for some reason the Japanese guns are not as powerful as the British guns. And here is, well, this is going to hurt, I think, the King George. I need to roll some extras. I don't have enough dice here. So I'm going to roll these, and the armor on the King George, or the Duke of York, I guess, is 7. The armor penetration value of the Congo is 2. Is 2. So I need 5s. Is that right? Let me see here. Armor value of 7. Armor penetration of the Congo. Oh, it's only 1. It's only +1 right down here. So I need 6s on these dice, and 6s will also be criticals. Any 6s? 2 6s so far, and then I need 2 more dice for this guy. Any 6s here? No. So I only did 2 6s. So the King George will go from 84 down to 82, and now we'll work out some critical hits here. So the first critical hit goes to a vital system, and that is a 3, which is fire in the engineering department. For the rest of the game, the ship cannot do damage control, but it is 2d6 damage. Yikes. 8. So King George does 8 more damage to it. So we go down to 76. 76, that's the first one done. Second critical is a 5, which is weapon. A 3, which is turret destroyed. 3 damage extra. Let's do that first. So we'll go to 73 from 76. And the random turret is destroyed. And we have 3 turrets here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which turret is gone? So a turret is also gone on the King George. So I'll just get my little marker here and pop that up so that I remember. Now, does the turret... can I repair the turret? Random turret roll 4+ before firing. Random turret must roll a 4. What's it? It's damaged and not destroyed. It's just damaged. So I need to roll a 4+ to see if I can even fire it at all. Well, that's okay. So it still has a chance of firing. And that's as far as I'm going to go with this game right now, at least on camera. If you want me to do a full game, I will do that. That's not a problem. I just wanted to give you guys a sense of what this game is about. Now, this is a 600-point game. And what I found is it's more of a game than it is a simulation. So if you're looking for a simulation on naval warfare, I think this is probably not the game for you. If you're looking for a game that you get to play and roll dice and have a laugh, or a cringe, because some of the things in it are really cringe. So for instance, what I find really cringe here is that the Congo is not a bad battleship by any stretch of the imagination. Same thing for the British Warspite. They're not bad battleships, but the stats in the game, I don't find them represent the ship itself very well. For instance, the Congo can, although it has done damage, like it has done from 89 down to 73, it has done some damage. A lot of that damage came from the torpedoes. Well, 4 of that damage came from the torpedoes. So what's that? 77 from 89. That's 12 damage total. From 2 broadsides from the Congo did 12 damage total. Whereas 2/3 of a broadside from King George or from Duke of York to Congo did from 73 down to 32. So 41 damage. The King George is by far a far superior ship to the Congo in the game. Now, is that true in real life? Probably. But don't forget, the Congo has 14-inch guns, so does King George. How is the damage so much different? Is it the look of the dice? Probably. But the Congo needs 6s to damage at all the King George. King George needs 2s. That seems like a big gap. Anyway, I'm going to make another video on my thoughts on the game and the set a little later, once I've played a few more games, just to get my mind around it. And if you'd like to tune into that, that'll be up shortly. This has gone on about 40 minutes, so I think what I'll do is I'll stop the video here and digest what I've learned, and I'll be back again later at another video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.